Dave, thanks. A first alert update, a delay in sentencing for former Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan as a judge considers new motions in this case. U.S. District Judge Lynn Edelman heard arguments today on whether to overturn the jury's verdict or grant a new trial. A jury convicted Dugan in December of obstructing federal immigration agents trying to make an arrest inside the Milwaukee County courthouse. She'd resigned from the bench soon after. Her attorneys say a recent federal appeals court ruling undermines the law used to convict her, but prosecutors say the verdict should stand. Edelman gave no timeline for the decision.